Welcome back to Raise the Praise, where we choose to reclaim our joy and thrive in every area of our lives. That's physically, mentally, financially, and spiritually, to do all that God is calling us to do with a spirit of excellence. I'm your host, Jennifer Bell. I am a wife, a mom of 3 amazing human beings, a former school administrator, and an ex-dieter turned health and wellness faith influencer. Listen, I want you to know that God is concerned about our health and our well-being. He says so right in His Word, 3 John 2. I also want you to know the definition of health is not just the absence of disease or infirmity. Health is the condition of being sound in our minds, bodies, and our spirit. Listen in each week as we aim to encourage you to live the life you deserve, get your mind, your body, and your spirit in alignment, activate your faith to truly thrive in every area of your life. I'm so glad that you are here. Let's get ready for today's episode. Welcome back, y'all. We've been talking about having the courage to heal through forgiveness, faith, and health. Courage. Remember, courage is the ability to do something that frightens you and doing something in the face of pain or grief. And then to heal is to cause to become sound or healthy again. So having the courage to heal means even in the face of fear, pain, or grief, I'm choosing to heal so that I can walk in freedom. And that freedom comes through forgiveness, that freedom comes through my faith, and that freedom comes through my health. As women of faith, we know the power of forgiveness. However, the process of forgiving those who hurt us or even ourselves is a journey. God gives us the courage to find freedom, to forgive, heal, and thrive in every area of our lives. For the next few episodes, I've invited a few of my friends, women who are going to share their courage to heal stories, because I believe we must break our silence, come from behind our ashes, and live in our true beauty. When we do, y'all, guess what? We let our sisters know you're not alone. And my prayer is that you, my dear sister, will have the courage to heal and walk in freedom too. Let's listen in as my sister shares her story of how she had the courage to heal and where she is with her journey. All right, today I have the pleasure to speak with my sister, TeNita Ballard. She is a woman of God. She's my Sarah too, a diversity leader, CEO of Seasoned to a T. She serves in her church, and y'all, she's going to tell you more about what she does in just a second. So I just want to welcome you to the show, TeNita.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. I'm really happy to be here.
And I'm happy you're here too. So I just gave a brief bio about, what you've been up to here lately, but let us know who TeNita is, a little bit more about your business, especially Seasoned to a T.
I love that name. But a little bit about myself. My name is TeNita Ballard. I am from Watts, California. I currently live in Los Angeles, California. And I would like to describe myself as a diversity champion. During the day, I'm passionate about all things diversity. And at night, at weekends, any free time that I have, you can catch me at church. You can catch me in the community. I'm very active with church. I'm very active with my sorority, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I'm also very active in my family. And then I also wear another hat. I'm the CEO of Seasoned to a T. And it's actually a meal prep business. And I like to say that I feed people physically and spiritually. And so I'm actually getting ready to launch some new things with a second arm of my business. And I'm here to help the strong person find comfort in their voice. And actually, I'm going to say that one more time. And I'm helping bring comfort to the strong friend.
Comfort to the strong friend. And you know what? Sometimes that strong friend, we're not strong all the time, right? But to know that you're helping in that capacity is huge. So, we've been talking about having the courage to heal. And first of all, kudos to all that you're doing, especially when you're talking about feeding your soul and your spirit, right? But Congratulations to everything that you have going on right now. But shifting to the Courage to Heal, and people have heard my story, and I want us to understand that how important it is for us as women of God to tell our stories. First of all, thank you for having the courage to share yours on the podcast today. So I want to remind everyone that forgiveness truly is a journey. And remember those 6 steps that we talked about, the Thrive method of the journey that I personally went through in order to gain the freedom that I have today based off of forgiveness and the faith and making sure that I'm walking in freedom in my health. So I want you to share your story with us, TeNita, because it's in telling our stories that we are able to help so many other people, even if it's a one somebody is what I like to say. So you have your story, I know, starts off with you being deceived for about a decade of your truth. What is that all about?
So when I say I've been deceived with my truth, that goes back to when I was 18 years old. I actually had an encounter. It was my first college party. I traveled with a couple of friends, was super excited, and we went to our first college party. We were dancing. I saw this guy, and he started talking to me. And honestly, it would go before that too, because to me, the excitement to have him show interest in me, clearly there was some type of void that I was dealing with that I didn't recognize. But to have him show interest in me, and then being 18, being in a club, my actual first party as an adult, I guess I could say 18 as an adult, and we're on the dance floor. And then he said, let's go outside to talk. It's really loud in here. And me being young, naive, green, I don't know if I even told my friends that I was going outside. I may have said I'll be right back. So me and the guy went outside and we went. He was like, it's cold. Let's go in my friend's back seat. I still didn't see and know what was going on. I found myself in a situation where I was in the back seat and we had sex. I was a virgin. I lost my virginity in the back seat. And with that situation, I say that I was deceived because I actually said that it was my fault. I don't know what I said at that point. I don't know if I told him to stop. The only thing I remember is that I don't know this man and he could possibly kill me. So for me, I chose to say nothing. And that was the start of me losing my voice at 18 years old. And since I blamed myself, and that's why I say the deception, because I felt that it was my fault. Mm-hmm. I left the club with him. I went in the back seat with him. I should have knew better. If I could have, would have, should have. I had all these scenarios. So I think for me, that's where the deception started.
Mm-hmm. And being 18, young, you're in college, the interest, when you said that, do you know how many young women, particularly, that's what we're talking about, young women who just get that little bit of attention and think it's so pure. And then that happens. I heard you say we had sex. That's not what that was. I know we're going to get to that part. But at the same time, you also talked about being silent because you felt like it was your fault. Can you tell me, how did you feel? If you can remember back then, how did you feel once, it happened? How did you feel? What were your emotions besides, feeling guilty? Kind of take us back there. What does that feel like?
So for me, for so long, I blocked that out, that memory, because as we continue with the story, many things have transpired since that situation. But going back to the situation as far as I can, I kind of, like I said, I felt like it was my fault. I didn't see. Now at 39, I can go back and say, when you're with your girlfriends, when you go out, you do not leave. You guys come together, you leave together. You let someone know where you're at. If you don't know someone, it's stranger danger. I didn't think of it. I didn't foresee any of that. And I found myself in a situation. And I just remember going back into the club, telling my friend, I lost my virginity, crying. Because to me, it was all of this for this, you went outside. And now, it was it just hurt because I didn't want it to happen that way. And yeah, it was very scary.
Yeah. So did you get to the point where you actually told your parents or your mom, or, you told your girlfriends? Then what happened next? I mean, are you in college? You got school? Take us through the next few months, maybe. What happened?
So from that situation, one of my friends started talking to his friend. And then we went back to the dorm. He was there, I was there, and I was actually staying with her for the weekend. So I found myself in a situation where it was like repeated situations where I had to call one of my sisters that was older than me. And I had to call her, and she was like, "Do I need to come get you?" And she came and got me because I did not know how to get myself out of the situation. And thinking back, I could have just left. I had to walk to a payphone to let someone know what was going on with me. And from that situation, that was the weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know if I left Saturday, Sunday. But on Monday, me and another friend, we're still young and naive. We go straight to the doctor on campus and I take a pregnancy test. And the pregnancy test came back negative. Of course, now I know that you will not get results. And back then in 2000, you wouldn't have got pregnancy results in 2-3 days. So from that, I just act like it didn't happen. Like I just,
Did you ever see that guy again? Did you ever see him on campus just walking around? Or
he did not go to our school. Later, I found out that he was older. And so honestly, he was preying on young girls. So I would see him around campus and he did not go to the school, which was very weird. Going to school, going. And then I noticed that I was missing my period. So with missing my period, the same friend, big sister that I called to get me out of the situation, her and her best friend, they took me to the doctor. And that's when I found out I was pregnant.
So you got pregnant. Wow.
With finding out that I was pregnant, the scenario was like, okay, so what are you going to do? Are you going to tell your mother? Of course. So I went home that day and I was like, hey, Mom, how was work? Did you have a good day? And I remember she was in her restroom. She came home from work. She's in the restroom and I'm talking to her. It's like, what's going on? Like she mothers know I'm not a mother. If God allows me to be a mother one day, I pray that I am half of the mother that she is to me. I love mothers because guys are awesome.
Yeah.
So she knew something was wrong. And I said, Mom, I'm pregnant. And she said, as if I wanted the boys in Summer Bridge because I was in a summer program at school. And I said, no, it was a guy I met at a party. And she left and she was gone for hours. And I just went to my room and I was in the bed. I couldn't sleep and I laid there. She got home and she said, you need to get on your knees and pray. I got on my knees and I prayed. And then she sat next to me and she said, what do you want to do? I never had any intentions of keeping a child. I did not know what to do with a child. I clearly did not know what to do with sex. So for me, I just said, I don't want to keep it. And she said, whatever. And before that, she said, whatever you decide is your decision and I'm here to support you. And so with that, I was relieved, honestly.
I was going to ask you, where's your faith in all this? Because you were saying, are you a young Christian at this time? Or, okay, so you knew about prayer, even though Mama said you need to pray. You already had a relationship with Christ. And so where was that? I know we're getting close to that point where you talk about where your faith and all that kind of collides, so to speak.
High school, a part of praise team at my church. So I knew about God. I had a relationship with him. I spoke in tongues when I was a teen. But it was that, honestly, 18, trying to keep up with my friends. They were having sex. I thought it was oh, this guy wants me. And it was the peer pressure. I honestly fell for it. It's sad to say, but I just wanted to keep up with my friends. And it got me in a situation where I was pregnant and I was relieved because I thought my mom was going to kill me. So when she just said, pray, whatever you want to decide, I went to sleep. I went to school the next day and I kept going to school. I had ginger ale and crackers all day walking to class. Just knew I didn't feel good. Ginger ale crackers, until my mom said, Tanita, time is passing. Oh, I actually don't think I gave her an answer then. I may not have given her an answer right away. I know that she said, Tanita, time is passing. What are you going to do? And I told her, oh, I don't want it. I never felt attached to the child. I did not want it. And so with that, she took me to make my appointment to get the procedure. And I actually didn't tell a lot of people I was pregnant. It was just I just was going day to day. I was very numb. And so I was going through the procedure. We had a date. It was going to be on a Friday. That Thursday, I was at home and I started bleeding in the middle of the night.
Mm.
So I woke my mother up and I said, Mom, I'm bleeding. And so she told my dad, she was like, I need to take Tanita to the hospital. And so he was like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on with her? And she was like, oh, she just don't feel good. Like, I need to take her to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, you're miscarriaging. Like, you're losing a baby. And he was like, since you have the procedure tomorrow, go and allow them to, I believe it's DNC, to clean it. To clean it out. And so that's where my second layer of deception came, because I knew that I wanted an abortion. I looked at it as an abortion, and for years. So my first 10 years of thinking, it's just deception. It was a deception on top of deception.
Mm-hmm.
So first deception was I wasn't raped. It was my fault.
Mm-hmm.
I lost my virginity to a guy I did not know. Then my next deception was I had an abortion, so I figured I was in control. I took care of it, did not use my voice, did not share. And I just remember like just shutting down, like, okay, this is what I did. And I just kept it pushing, didn't talk about it. And then I love your topic, Courage to Heal, because with that, with losing my voice, I always had a void, and there was something that I was searching for. And so with living with that void, I was always in search for something. Like, I tried to find voids in friendships. This is my best friend. I love her. Oh my God, this is what we're doing. Oh, this is a guy that I'm dealing with. Like, his dreams are my dreams. Like, this is my boyfriend. I was in search. I was always in search for something, did not know what I was searching for. So the Courage to Heal, I actually got a life coach, Coach Debbie Chandler. And so we started working together. So funny. I had an event at my house. I had a neighbor. They wanted to use my backyard for an event. And I was like, sure. I had a activity that morning. I really wasn't at my house. And then when I came, Debbie was actually presenting to the women. It was a church event at their house. And I was in their house, and I was like, God, if you're sending out blessings. And so this is 3-4 years ago. So now I went through the transition. So when I was 30, I had 3 goals. I wanted to be a homeowner. I wanted to have my master's, and I wanted to find my church home. So with that, I was back into Christ. I got baptized. So definitely walking closer with God. So let's take it back 3-4 years. I said, God, if you have somebody in my backyard, like, I want to partake. So I was like, can I like sit in? And they were like, of course they do. Like, it's at your house. And it was their women's event at their church. So the lady was speaking, but I felt like, wow, she is speaking to me. She was talking like spiritual soul ties. She was talking about voids. And like, I have been known to have a really beautiful smile, always happy, cheerful. But the reason I say that I had to find my voice and stop suffering in silence, because I could have a smile on my face all day long, but people didn't know the way I felt about myself, the internal conflict. I lost my voice.
Yeah.
I was deceived.
Let's stop right there, because so many, especially women of faith, and that's why I always say, but sometimes we hide behind our ashes, we hide behind our faith, because we just show up. And to just see us at the surface level, you can't see the heart, right? Even though you've gone through what you've gone through, those over a span of 20 years, and you realize that you did not have an abortion, that was a miscarriage, it was not your fault, but yet and still you felt that void. You still had that internal turmoil about, well, golly, I need somebody. For me, I had to continue to achieve. I had to make, I needed the praises of other people. I need those accolades to value me, to give me worth. Even my job, to give me some type of worth. And it's kind of like, to feel that void for me, that's when I got really, really overweight, because I was like, well, I'm ugly. I don't like what I see. And so oftentimes we turn inwardly instead of really to the pain, but it manifests externally. Like, I'm seeking for, I have to have a person in my life. Who am I without somebody, or being a friend, or whatever it is for you? So that part, when you realize that another girlfriend, another guy friend, a degree, another thing was not filling the void, what decision did you finally make to gain your own voice back?
That's good. And for me, my first revelation, the first sign of deception, was the abortion. So that was easier for me to talk about, because I didn't have a problem. Like, of course, it's like it's like, oh, just have an abortion, get rid of it. Like, it was just something like, oh yeah, I had an abortion when I was 18. I had no problem, because again, I thought that was the decision that I made. So this is like, and that's why I say like my first 10 years. is I was deceived, and I was deceived about the abortion. So I'm in school, getting my BA in theology, and I wrote a paper to God asking for forgiveness for my abortion. I gave the walkthrough the Thursday, the Friday, bleeding, going to the hospital, and told my story. One of my bishops sat me down and said, "Tanita, you know you had a miscarriage." "No, I had an abortion." And he said, "Tanita, you know you had a miscarriage." "No, I had an abortion." And when he walked me through it, all this time, I was thinking that I had an abortion. And I feel that's where the deception from the enemy. When we keep things inside and we do not talk about them, the enemy uses that as a playground.
Absolutely.
Because if I never would have shared that story in an essay form to God, my bishop would have never gave me that clarity. And it shifted so many things in my life. That one thing that I was deceived about.
And you're so right. You're so right when you talk about the enemy. That's what he wants. He wants us to isolate us. And that's why I always speak to Sister Yana. You are not alone. You are not the only one going through this. You are not the only person who felt like, you had an abortion when it really was a miscarriage, and you just crossing the lines of what it really is, right? And then having the heart to even forgive yourself, or even, now we're going to talk about forgiveness. We're getting ready to go there for the person who raped you, and for how, like I said, none of it was your fault, but did you feel like you had to even forgive yourself in order to move on? You finding your voice, was that part of you realizing that, okay, I know I can hold my head up high because I'm forgiven by the blood of the Lamb, number one. It wasn't my fault. I've accepted the fact that I did chose to go out there outside with him. I did the guilt that you feel. That's when I say the forgiveness of yourself. Sometimes we can't even forgive ourselves because I heard you say, I made the decision. It just wasn't clicking that, okay, I made the decision to get in the car. I made the decision. But at the same time, that's nothing but guilt. And if the enemy can keep us bound like that, then there's no freedom in that. So I'm glad you wrote that paper. And I'm glad that your bishop, helped you with that deception, because it's just a lie from the pit of hell, right? But the fact that you're walking in freedom. Now you have your voice, right? How are you now? How are you now going through what you've gone through?
So for me, it's a process. I'm from a generation where I like things fast. Okay, I had the revelation. It wasn't an abortion, it was a miscarriage. Okay, what can I do now? I'm healed. But that was just part of my story. So it was the courage to heal. I had to keep going. Yeah. So at times, I said that I had a void. The light started to shine, but it was still like so dark that it was like it only got to a little bit, and then it had some more to go. So as I'm going on this journey, I started working with Coach Debbie Chandler. We started having conversations. She introduced me to a program which is called No Longer Bound, and it's an abortion miscarriage recovery ministry. I went through those 6 weeks, 8 weeks. I did the retreat. I did the classes. And going through that, I had my next revelation. I didn't lose my virginity. That was date rape.
Come on.
I was raped.
Call it what? Yes.
And for me, for years, people would come to me. People would open up to me before I had the revelation. And they would share their traumas. They would share their pains, their rape and their molestation. And I would cry for them. Cry. I was passionate. I would hurt for them. The whole time, not knowing that I was actually crying for myself. And I did not know and acknowledge that I was raped myself. I only found that out about 3 years ago. Wow. Or acknowledged, like the deception.
Wow, what a revelation, because, you said so much right there. But the key thing I love that you said, because a lot of us as African-American women of faith, let me just talk about us, y'all. We don't seek help. It took me 38 years hiding behind the ashes, that shadow you were talking about. I'm functioning out here, but on the inside, oh my gosh, the turmoil, right? We have to get help. Like you said, we want it fast. Okay, I forgave my lips. I forgave my heart. This is my story, right? But my heart was not healed. Something was still missing that only God could heal for me, right? And it took me going to a therapist. It took that therapist doing what she does, and I have a Christian therapist as well, getting down to the root and helping you to just go through that journey and dive deep, right? And not leave you there. Y'all, it's okay to ask for help. You know, God works through therapists, He works through doctors and all of that. But in my generation, it was a secret taboo. You don't say nothing, right? You don't say, just keep it to yourself, pray about it, keep it moving. So I'm so excited for you sharing your story that you had the revelation and understood. Because the whole time you were sharing, I'm like, she didn't consent to that, type thing. If I can ask, how are you now? Do you have flashbacks? Some people think, okay, I've been healed and I'm never to think of that again. Or how do you process going forward, making sure that you don't go, because we can easily go back into that dark place. We can easily go back into the shadows if we think about, if we allow the enemy to take a hold of our mind. That's why the Bible tells us to renew our minds daily, because of the things that we can see, what we hear, what we feel. But if we have the word of God on the inside, that's what comes out of our mouth and helps us to make sure that those limiting beliefs, those nasty thoughts, all of those things, I am who God says I am. And I start speaking what God says about me, because it doesn't go away. We're still human. It happened, right? But it no longer has a hold on me. And that's the beautiful part of when you have the courage to heal. And it's a continuation, like you said. It's not just a one and done. I mean, this is part of our experience, like a beautiful experience from childhood or something, right? We have to work on it daily. So, first of all, let me just say I'm so proud of you, number one, and number two, to really live in your truth, to even own it and to share it. This is why I wanted to have women who have the courage to heal to share, because so many of us we just stay behind the ashes and we feel like we're alone. Or if we say something, someone's going to judge me. Someone's going to think I'm not saved. Somebody's going to think, well, she's up there doing praise and worship. Well, oh my gosh, how can she? All those things. And it's just a trick of the enemy to keep us where we are. But to walk in freedom, honey, there's nothing like it. That void has been filled, and now you're on doing beautiful things, big business, all of this, and able to really say, this is my truth. Yeah, that's part of me too. But it doesn't define me. It doesn't define me. So with that being said, as we get ready to wrap up, moving forward, have you forgave the person, or do you feel like you need to do that? Or are you walking in freedom when it comes to forgiveness, your faith, and your health?
So one thing for me, when I was on a retreat, and it was in 2019, spring 2019, it was an intensive. So we had different sessions. But one that I can say I had a breakthrough is when we named our unborn child. During the process, a couple of weeks before, I had a dream about a little boy. And in my dream, I was searching. I had a dog. She passed away, but her name was Sadie. Mm-hmm. And to me, Sadie was very like a child to me, so very passionate. Like, I loved my dog. Oh. And in this dream, I'm searching, calling for my dog, but searching for something, did not know, like the love of a child. So that's how I kind of correlated that. And then when I saw the little boy, I grabbed him and I was like, where have you been? Like, I've been searching for you. But the funny thing is, it was a man that was guiding me to the child. And when he guided me to the child, to me, it was the grown child taking me to the little boy. And I knew when I hugged that child that he was like my son. And before the retreat, I thought it as like, one day I'm going to have a son. Mm. So now when we were in our session and we had to name our unborn child, I know that my child was a boy. Mm-hmm. And I named him I actually named him Jacob Ryan Ballard. And I wanted to, it was like a wordplay on junior, because a lot of my brothers are junior and just different things. So I wanted to connect him to my side of the family and also connect him to God. So in order for forgiveness, I initially had to forgive myself, that it is okay that you did not know. You did not know, Tanita. And so with me forgiving myself, also forgiving the guy, I took the power back. So I like to say, when I found my son, when I named Jacob Ryan Jr., I found myself, and that was the void that I was searching for all along, and I did not know.
Wow.
So actually the necklace that I have on, my best friend gave it to me when I finished the retreat, and it has his name on it. So for me, it's a way when I read a letter to him and I let him know that, like, I love him, I'm sorry, because I wasn't attached to him at 18 years old. He was just I don't want it, I won't,
Yes.
But for me, I feel like 3-4 years ago when I found my son, I found myself.
That is so powerful. And the fact that you even said, I mean, just to go through that process is pretty powerful alone. But having the help to guide you through that, I'm sure that was some deep work, number one. And then I love how you said you took your power back.
I
No
found my
one,
voice.
yes, you got your voice. No one can weaponize your story, not even yourself, because when you stand in your truth, I believe true freedom comes when we acknowledge our truth and we walk in that truth. Because the Bible says the truth that you know, that truth that you know is what's going to make you free. And that's why I love to say with this Courage to Heal series is that you can find freedom through forgiveness, your faith, and your health. And health being just sound mind, body, and spirit. Man, that's just the freedom that God has afforded us. Because he said, whom the Son sets free is free indeed. I understand that now. I wasn't free. I belonged to God, I belonged to Christ, but I wasn't truly free. It took me a while to forgive that little girl on the inside of me as well, that little Jennifer. But to get that power back and to know that my story cannot be weaponized and I am free to share because I know our stories, TeNita, it's going to help so many other women to come forward. So I just want to thank you for being on the show today and let you close out with, your closing remarks. And then I'm going to ask you, well, as you get ready to close out, tell us where can we find you? How can people connect with you? And then, as you close out your last closing remarks.
Thank you. So I just wanted to go back to one of your initial questions. You said, what would I go back and tell that 18-year-old? So I just would say, TeNita, it is okay. I know that you were scared. I know that you did not know what to do. You actually didn't know what to expect. I know that robbed and that you were violated. But I want to let you know that you were never alone. God was there all the time. He protected you. He kept you. And I'm thankful. The story could have turned so many different ways. I could have lost my mind, not just my voice at that time. I could have got an STD. Like, the list can go on and on. But I just want to tell anybody that's out there, I had many dark nights. I had many dark days. I always had a smile on my face, but I was suffering in silence. But one thing I'm thankful for is that God never left my side. No matter what I did, no matter where I went, he never left me and I kept my mind. Every single day I wake up and I'm thankful that I am in my right mind. And so that's what I would tell anyone out there that has a smile on their face and suffering in silence, that you're not alone. And so now where you can find me, I'm on Instagram at Season to a T. That's my business page. My personal page is TeNita30. But with that, I'm actually branching out. So last year I started Season T, a meal prep business, paying homage to my family and paying homage to my grandmothers. With both of them dying within the last 3 years, I dealt with family chaos. It's hard to be the hard friend. It's hard to be the hard family member, be that leader, be that person, because at times you get attacked on different levels and you don't understand why. So I was able to take my power back and start a business to pay homage to both of my grandmothers. And now I like to say that I help feed people physically and spiritually. March 16th, I am launching a blog where I'm bringing comfort to the strong friend. I have 3 methods that I have used that God downloaded directly: clean house, preparation, and order. And these steps will help you. I will help guide you to get to the other side, to use your voice and stop suffering in silence. Because it's many of us that have smiles on our face. We have titles, we have businesses, we're wives, we're mothers, and we're suffering in silence. And so I'll just give you the first method, which is clean house. We talked about it. You have to acknowledge. I needed to acknowledge that I was hurt. I need to acknowledge that I was searching for something. I had a void. And then I had to forgive myself. And that was me taking my power back. I said 1, but I'm going to do 2. Preparation. That comes with self-love and your true identity in God. As I was searching for him, and he was always there. So you need to know who you are, who God said you are, is
Mhm.
not with your mama, your friend, your boyfriend, etc. So it's just reclaiming your power. I'm still doing the work. I'm thankful. I'm so glad that God connected us, and
Yeah.
I just pray that He gets the glory.
Woo, girl, listen. God is pleased because we're sharing and we're going to help so many other people. I love, as we wrap up, I promise y'all, this is our second benediction. We're going to go. But I love what you said. Even in the midst of trauma, God was right there. Because He said He'll never leave us nor forsake us. He never said that we would just have an easy life. He said He'll never leave us nor forsake us, even in the midst of our trauma. So I just want to thank you for that. Thank you for, sharing your story and having the courage to even do that. And my hope and my prayer is always that somebody, somewhere, somebody will open up and say, hey, I need some help in this area. So I'm going to leave all of Tanita's information in the show notes and how you can connect with her. And of course, you'll have everything. Talk to somebody. I know Tanita will be happy to share with you. She would be happy to connect with you. Find her on Instagram. Reach out. You do not have to suffer alone in silence anymore, Sister Yana. We are here to support you. So thank you so much, Tanita, for being on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Hey friends, thanks so much for sharing your time with me today. Real quick, before you go, if you found value in today's podcast and something resonated with you, would you leave me a 5-star review and subscribe on iTunes? I am thanking you in advance, and I look forward to reading each and every one of your reviews. You can find me at raisethepraisepodcast.com or join my Facebook group, Choose to Praise. Until next time, remember to choose joy and raise the praise in every area of your life.